Let me just return to the last question, and that is, many economists would think that unemployment of 5.2 to 6% leaves many people out there hurting badly in an economy, is a fairly substantial rate of unemployment, even though it's much, much better than where we are today. In setting your goals of trying to assure, to avoid excessive price instability and inflation, you have not taken a drastic position on unemployment. You've tried to have some, as you said, balance between the two, have you not?
Well, we are not, there's nothing in our statement which suggests that we think that 5.2 to 6% unemployment is desirable or is a good outcome. We're just saying that given where the economy is today, that's what we think it can sustain under more normal conditions. There are many policies that Congress could consider, workforce skills and other things that might affect that long-run unemployment, and if that unemployment rate has changed, then we will respond to that.
And on your estimates of what type of growth we will see in the near term in the economy that are in your testimony and the reports of the Fed, what assumptions do those estimates make concerning fiscal policy and where the Congress will be? I understand you're not getting into specific bills, pro and con.
Well, in order to make forecasts, we make guesses about what Congress will actually do. There's no endorsement or non-endorsement involved in that. Basically, the CBO presented sort of two kind of extreme proposals. One is the current law proposal, which assumes, for example, that all the tax cuts are ended and that the doc fix is not adopted and so on. And then there was a alternative scenario which sort of took the most
right. We had testimony about both yesterday.
Yeah, which assumed that there was no sequestration and that all the tax cuts were extended and you know, sort of took the opposite approach. Our numbers obviously are based on an intermediate level, assumes that some of these policies are undertaken, but not all of them, and we try to make our best guess. But it's only staff guesses about what they think Congress may do, and I don't think those forecasts are, the details of that are particularly helpful to you. I mean, you obviously you're going to be trying to figure out what the right thing to do is.
With regard to an issue we've discussed when you've been here in the committee before on whether the policies of the financial community concerning rewards and compensation for taking excessive risk remain a problem. You've finally issued a report in October dealing with that. It indicated that there had been some improvement, but among the largest banks there continued to be a number of problems with regard to risk-taking and how that leads to rewards from some of those that are taking the risk with other people's money. Could you give us an assessment of what's happened since that report came out in terms of what progress is being made to deal with this issue that many of us are concerned could lead to another financial meltdown?
Well, the Federal Reserve undertook, even before financial reform was passed by the Congress, we undertook to look at this as a safety and soundness matter, and very early on we began working with the boards and the compensation committees of the major institutions to try to structure their compensation in ways that did not lead to more or excessive risk-taking. And I think, as the report suggested, we've made a good bit of progress. It's really sort of about that time of year when a lot of this information is finalized in terms of what the compensation packages are going to look like. We continue to make progress on that. We continue to work with the banks. I think that, as I said, I think that a lot of the major institutions have taken serious steps in this direction. I would point out, in addition, that beyond the actions that the Federal Reserve took independently, Dodd-Frank requires the Fed and other bank regulators to establish incentive compensation standards, and that rulemaking process is underway, and so that will augment and add to the guidance that we've already provided. So we have seen progress, and we continue to work actively with the banks to, I think in everyone's interest, to make the banks safer and reduce the risks to the taxpayer.
Does more need to be done?
Well, we continue to work on it. As we said in our report, we don't think that we're where we need to be necessarily, and I think that there's a lot of interesting questions. This is actually an active topic of academic research about how best to structure pay packages, what kinds of, what role should options and stock payments and so on play. So more does need to be done, but I think part of the process will be learning in our consultations with the institutions and with academics and others about what works best. And of course, Europeans are doing similar things, and there's interchange there as well.
Thank you.